Welcome to Pie Month. The month of November is Pie Month in my life, and I make so many pies throughout the entire month. We are going to get some tips and tricks down for some great pie techniques and get you all set for Thanksgiving, which is the biggest pie holiday. Let's get started. Okay, so first I'm going to show you what you will need to get started. Obviously you will need flour, Crisco, and salt. You will also need a plastic bowl. You don't want to grab a stainless steel bowl or a glass bowl because you want the dough to be able to kind of stick a little bit to the sides of the bowl. So this is a plastic bowl. It is the oldest bowl that we have here at the house, but you know, sometimes oldies are goodies. A rolling pin, a pie tin. We use glass Pyrex pie tins. You can also get super cheap ones at Smart & Final or Marie Callender's. They sell the cheaper metal pie tins for like $1. So if you're on a budget, you want to go there. Some pie tools, a bunch of cookie cutters, and some scoring pie utensils. So if you have any of those, great. If not, just grab a pizza cutter. All right, let's get started. We are going to put together the dough. Lots of people have different philosophies on dough. Some people swear by butter, and although I should be one of those people, I prefer Crisco. I know lots of people are gonna fight me on that. But I grew up using my mom's pie crust recipe, which I'm pretty sure is a Better Home and Gardens recipe, but it is perfect. And I've kind of worked off of that and have made my own pie crust from other pie crust recipes and kind of taking apart what I like from each. But there's a running argument in my family about whose pie crust is better, mine or my mom's, and my mom always wins. So we're gonna do my mom's recipe today, and it's super simple. Let's go ahead and measure out our flour. For flour measurements, we always want to pour the flour into our measuring cup instead of scooping it out. This will make sure that the flour is not packed in there. So that's what we're going to do. We're using 3 cups of flour. Always make sure you level off your flour as well. See here, we're leveling it. And then just dump the excess back into the bag. So that's 2 cups, 1 more cup here. And this recipe is good for a double crust pie, which basically means enough for the bottom crust and the top crust. Okay, that's 3 cups. We are going to do 1 teaspoon salt. Now you want to make sure your salt is level. I always do this over the sink. It's easier, less mess. These are my favorite measuring spoons. They have one side that is made for wet ingredients and one side that is made for dry ingredients. I don't know if you've ever had this problem, but in your measuring spoons, if you use one for, let's say, water or vanilla and then try to use it for salt, it gets stuck to the spoon. So I swear by these. I love them. These will definitely be in future subscription boxes. Don't tell anyone. 1 cup of shortening. So with shortening, you're going to want to put it into the cup and you're going to want to pack it down. Kind of like you would brown sugar. So squish it down in there. Make sure all the air bubbles are filled. And then we're going to level it off. with our knife. And go ahead and scoop that into your bowl. Now that's pretty much it with ingredients. The only ingredient we have left is water. I will go ahead and show you the most important part about making your pie crust. This is called cutting in the shortening into your flour. You want to cut it in. A lot of people use a pastry cutter for this particular purpose, but you can also use a fork. It's super easy. And you're going to want to press the bottom of your fork into the bottom of the bowl. What that will do is it will make your Crisco cut into your flour into smaller pieces. We're going to do that for just a few minutes, and you want to do that until the Crisco and the crust kind of form pea-sized balls. So go ahead and do that. We're just about finished with cutting our Crisco into the flour. The Crisco has nicely cooperated with us and it's incorporated into the flour. Next we are going to add water. We want it to be cold water. So go ahead and pour just a little bit. You want to be very careful not to pour too much. And you're going to mix it. Usually what I'll do is I will leave the sink on and mix this while holding it under the sink. So I'll mix it, hold it under, get some more water, mix it, put it under the sink, get some more water, just a little drizzle. That makes my life a little easier. So there's a quick little tip for you. The amount of water that you will need for this recipe, it should be about 8 to 10 tablespoons, but I don't ever measure it because the most important thing for this recipe is to kind of feel out the dough. When the dough is ready, it will all stick together. You see how we have still some dry pieces of flour in there. We want to make sure that that is all moistened up. Now you want to go until there are no dry pieces of flour, which we're almost at. A good way to tell is just by grabbing it with your hand and squeezing it and see if it will stick together. This is sticking together pretty nicely. Looks like we're just about there. Now, just collect it. And there you have it. And at this point, you want to divide it into 2 separate balls so you can roll out the top crust and the bottom crust. So separate that, and we're going to roll out the top one. You're going to want to flour the counter lightly and place the dough right there in the middle. I always like to keep a little pile of flour handy just in case. So put a little flour on the top of the pie dough, and I like to squish it down just a little bit. Starting from the center of your pie dough, you're going to roll it out to the outside. And that's what you're going to do the entire time. You don't want to go back and forth. That's the wrong thing to do. You want to start in the middle and go out, and then do the opposite side. That way your dough is even, and your circle is even as well. So start in the middle, work your way out. Now once you get to about here, you'll realize that the bottom of your pie dough has less flour now. We've used quite a bit already. So you're just going to roll it onto your rolling pin and just shove some flour under there and bring it back. Okay, now keep going. And so you'll find that doing this will help the pie dough roll out further. Okay, so now this is rolled out pretty nicely. It's pretty thin. You don't want it to be too thin or it'll start tearing apart. It's starting to do that in the middle here, but that's okay. You can kind of just mend it a little bit right there. What you can do at this point is you can grab your pie tin, put it upside down, use it as a frame of reference for cutting your circle for the bottom. Grab a pizza cutter and you just want to create a circle around your pie tin. You want to make sure that your circle is pretty far out from your pie tin because we're going to be folding it over to make a crust. So lift up your pie tin, set it aside. Go ahead and grab one side and lift it onto your rolling pin. Now grab your pie tin, put it in the middle, and you're just going to roll it back. There you go. Next, we are going to put the pie filling in the pie tin right on top of this bottom crust. At this point, you would make a pie filling or grab already pre-made pie filling like we have here. This is the lavender blueberry and it is delicious. All right, so go ahead and pour that in. Yummy. And just spread it around so it's even. You can use a knife to see how it tastes. Oh, now we are going to make the pie look pretty. We're going to be doing the lattice design on top. It's pretty easy if you do it in the right steps. So go ahead and roll out the second pie crust. If you couldn't tell, this time I rolled out my pie crust. It's longer instead of circular because we are going to cut long strips. Grab your pizza cutter again and cut out whatever strips you want. You can do as big or as small as you want. I like using tools like this because it has edges that I can use to make a fun little design. So I'll show you what that looks like. It's nice. You can make a couple of those. And we're going to do a couple of larger ones over here and smaller ones. There we go. I'm going to do a basic demonstration for the lattice work. Later we will do it on top of the actual pie, but I want to show you kind of how it works right now. When you place your strips on the pie, we're going to remove some of these because we'll use them later. You are going to put one row first. We're going to lay out the first row. So let's pretend this is the pie. What we will do is every other, you fold those up at the halfway point of your pie and place a strip right there. So now from here we are going to take every strip and just switch them. So the ones that are laying down, we flip them over that last piece of pie strip that was folded, and we fold this one down. So fold that up, fold that guy down, fold this up and down, and we're going to place another strip. Place another strip on here, and then just keep repeating that process until you get to the edge of your pie. And that will be our edge. Now we want to do the second half. So if you'll take a look, you want to fold up the strips that were underneath this last strip here. So fold this one up and every other, and place your next strip down. This is your lattice design. You will go ahead and do this directly on top of the pie. You don't want to do this on the table, but I did want to show you how to do it. So put that on top of your pie and then crimp the edges and you'll be done. We're just going to go ahead and finish the crust of this pie. Just folding it in. Use your two fingers here and your thumb, and you're just going to pinch the crust to give it a little flare. Okay, and there you have it. There's a lattice topping. Now you can do whatever you want at this point. I like to use cookie cutters to make pretty designs like this rose one. Lastly, we are going to sprinkle the top with sugar. I like to use these larger white sprinkles, and it just gives it a little better effect than regular sugar, but feel free to use regular sugar. It works just great. Okay, so the pie just came out of the oven. Let me show you the final product. Here you have it. Lavender blueberry pie. It's still bubbling a little bit. But thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time for another how-to in the baking world. Have a good day.